Guys, listen, I have been talking about this for months, and I'm not saying I called it or nothing, but I have been saying this is what they should do, and I'm glad they're doing it. If it's true, at least, you know? Apparently, some of the Into the Spider-Verse cast will go from animation to live action into their own, like, spin-offs, like, from the Spider-Verse cast, which is pretty exciting, and this is a good thing for, like, multiple different reasons. So let's get into it. Just keep in mind anything that is not confirmed by official sources like a Sony executive or, you know, just sources involved with said projects are just rumors, take with a grain of salt. So today's scoop is coming from Divinity Seeker, I think. I have covered this person on my channel a couple times, and my friend GeekyCast has said that he has a good track record so far and he hasn't seen him get anything wrong. But again, grain of salt as usual. So with that, he tweeted out, "Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will unshackle the barrier between animation and live action, and will segue into live action projects for Miles Morales, Miguel O'Hara, Cindy Moon, and Noir into their own solo live action projects. All of these projects are spin-offs." So this is like literally insane if this is true, guys. Like, I don't think you guys understand. For anyone new here on the channel, we did briefly cover both the Silk Spider Society project, which is featuring Cindy Moon aka Silk Spider, and as well we covered the announced Spider-Man Noir project, and we didn't have much confirmations for both projects other than like the titles of the projects, I think, and like a couple of those things like Phil Lord and Chris Miller being a part of these live action projects as well, which if you did not know, Chris Miller and Phil Lord are the people behind the Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse movies. And everyone was wondering why they were a part of like these live action projects that were announced, because like it was a little random since, you know, like they're working on the animated Spider-Verse trilogy, and there have been multiple rumors of Miles Morales coming into live action in the MCU mainly, but I think this may be regarding the Sonyverse Miles Morales rather than the MCU Miles. But yeah, so let's talk about Miles first, then we can get into the other Spider people. We have had rumors of Miles being a part of MCU Spider-Man 4, like that project, and like there's been a couple different things regarding like his age and like where he will be at in his life, whether like, you know, he'll be younger than Peter and like assumingly he'll be in high school, or like the same age as Peter and probably be in college like Peter, and they would be roommates together. But in case you guys did forget, we actually did get a confirmation, seemingly at least, that Miles does exist in the MCU already, when his uncle Aaron Davis said he had a nephew in the neighborhood and didn't want the alien tech weapons in the neighborhood because, you know, his nephew is in the area.
I don't want those weapons in this neighborhood. I got a nephew who live here.
His nephew, of course, being Miles Morales. But now the super interesting thing, I find at least, is that Marvel and Sony, like they got a couple options. Maybe they can go ahead with Miles in the MCU for a bit, or maybe not. It doesn't really matter too much, because they have the perfect opportunity when Secret Wars comes around. As you may or may not know, Miles Morales' origin story is basically he's from the Ultimate Universe of comic books, or just not the main 616 universe of Marvel, but yeah, like in the comic books, like he's from the Ultimate Universe. So with that, in the Ultimate Universe, Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man, died, and Miles got bit by a spider soon after and became the new Spider-Man and of the Ultimate Universe, and eventually got transported to the main 616 Marvel Universe through the Secret Wars event. So I really hope that's where they are going with Miles ultimately, no pun intended, because that would actually be insane and really cool, and the fans would appreciate that. I think, at least, I know for sure I would love to see that happen, and I would appreciate that. As far as what they will do with him in terms of like, you know, like a movie or a show, I think Miles could carry his own movie if they write it good. I mean, he carries his own animated movies, he carried the game, so I could see him carrying his own movie for sure. But now let's get into some of the other Spider people. Let's talk about Cindy Moon aka Silk Spider. The only details we have for that specific project basically boil down to Peter Parker exists in that universe because, you know, that technically is part of her origin story, because, you know, she gets bit by like the same spider that Peter got bit by. But we know this though because there was a synopsis for the show revealed. We broke that down in the video I did a while back, and if I didn't already mention, the project is called Silk Spider Society. But again, I do wonder how they will go about this, because like as far as I know, Silk hasn't been featured in the Spider-Verse animated movies yet, has she? Comment down below if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think we've seen her in those movies yet, unless her first appearance is in Beyond the Spider-Verse, which, okay, like, you know, whatever, that's fine, that would make sense. But I think for the show, for her, is going to be her origin story though, which is interesting because her comic origin story, again, like she gets bit by the same spider that bit Peter, and I think what's his name, I think it was Ezekiel Sims who took her in, kept her like locked up, but trained her with her powers because of Moreland the Absolute Menace, who kills spider totems. But the thing is, like, will they do the origin that faithful or switch it up? I mean, I wouldn't mind as long as it's written good. I don't think anyone would really mind. But also, actually, now that I think of it, the thing is, well, wait, are they gonna do her origin in the show? Because if she's gonna be in the movie, she would already be Silk Spider, or is she not gonna be Silk Spider when she's in Beyond the Spider-Verse? I don't know, that's a little confusing. Hopefully that made sense to you guys, but like do you guys get what I'm trying to say? But yeah, anyways, I don't know. Like, the thing is, like, not a lot of people know about Silk. Obviously, like, fellow huge Spider-Man nerds like us know about her, but I wouldn't say like the general public knows. Like, Miles Morales is probably a household name by now, but not Silk Spider, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't have much to say about Spider-Man Noir. I don't know a lot about that spider, and I don't know, I kind of just want to wait to see what the show looks like and just judge it then. I kind of know his backstory, but like, I don't know, I'm not really interested in him as much. But like, if the show looks good, like, I'll definitely consider watching it and making some videos on it, but I don't really have much to say about him right now. However though, what I am excited to talk about is Spider-Man 2099. I have always wanted a live action movie, TV show, whatever, based on Spider-Man 2099. I think it could do really well, especially if it's like set in the future and stuff. Like, the whole Alchemax storyline and like Miguel's suit, some of like the villains are super cool looking too. Just everything about Spider-Man 2099 is cool. I'm surprised they hadn't already done something with the character sooner. I do wonder what direction they will take Spider-Man 2099 in. I think a show would do good, maybe a movie, but I don't know, it kind of really just depends, because like, likely they will need to do his origin. Some of these characters, their origins are not known by the public, and to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing their origins, because I kind of do need a refresh for some of these characters like Silk and Spider-Man 2099. Those origins I wouldn't mind. Those would be cool to see their origin on the big screen for the one time and stuff like that. But now this may be controversial. I think they should take inspiration from the Flash season 1 to 3 as far as structuring their shows, maybe the writing as well too. But of course, you know, Flash and Spider-Man are different characters from each other, but the Flash season 1 to 3 is some of the best superhero television we've had. Obviously, you know, there's been other good superhero television since then, but I feel like that's where it really took off. Superhero television, Flash season 1 to 3. Now, the main thing that excites me about this is that since Chris Miller and Phil Lord will be a part of these projects, assumingly since they are part of the Silk and Spider-Man Noir projects, they would be a part of the Miles and Spider-Man 2099 projects as well. But this is a great thing for the Sonyverse, because we have been getting nothing but absolute mid. Okay, but seriously, Venom's films were okay for like the first watch, but after that it's like, okay, like what the fuck, like I don't know, it's not really all that, like because Spider-Man isn't involved, and so like Venom doesn't get the spider on his chest, and it's just not the same, and it's just like a whole mess. And Morbius, like we won't even go over that steaming pile of shit, but like I've been saying for a while, how did the same company create so many good projects and then we just have like the shitty live action Sony Spider-Man universe going on? I've said from the start, they need to fire that entire team of writers they have for their live action shit and hire a new team and like just put together better stories at the very least if you're going to continue doing these villain movies. We do not want to keep seeing them, but if you're gonna do them, the least you can do is get a good team of writers. Like if you're gonna continue doing these villain movies, I've literally said before, why couldn't they take the writers they have for their cartoons, games, animated movies, or whatever, and have them write their live action films? But hopefully Chris Miller and Phil Lord can take over and write more of the Sonyverse projects coming out, since they seem to know what they're doing with the Spider-Man IP in regards to, you know, like the animated Spider-Verse trilogy so far that everybody seems to love. But yeah, I don't know, ultimately I just hope they don't fuck any of this shit up. Like I just hope this is true, and that if it is true, I pray to God they don't fuck it up. If this is true, Sony, we'll give you a chance. But if you fuck this up, it's starting to look like the DCEU over here. So with that, what do you think of us possibly getting a Spider-Man 2099 live action project, Miles Morales project, Spider-Man Noir, Silk Spider live action projects being spin-offs from the Spider-Verse animated movies? Make sure you comment your opinion down below so I can discuss all that with you in the comments section. Thank you for taking time out of your day to click on this video. If you are new to the channel, I cover Spider-Man related scoops, rumors, leaks, confirmations for the games, movies, TV shows, and I try to upload upload as much as I can. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. If you want more of this type of content, leave a like on the video. Don't forget to check out my latest video on the left if you haven't already. I hope you have or had a good day and that you enjoyed the video. Until next time.